First question I have is about my toolboxes. And it's been a while since we talked about the toolboxes. So I thought I would show you. So hold on just a sec. Mark C9G says the toolbox poster, the details are beyond expectations. When did you build this and how long did it take to make it? Oh, that's not the toolbox poster. I thought this was my toolbox poster. It's not, it's my Elevations of Bear. A few years ago, we did a limited release poster, which you can, is it up on the website now? I'm not sure, of my toolboxes. So let me tell you about my toolboxes. I have always been, well, regular watchers of the channel know that I love vessels of holding. That is, when I have an object that I love, making a container for it is often as important to me as the object itself. I made my own Samaritan case when I finished my Samaritan. When I bought Alexander Hamilton's dueling pistol replicas, I went to an extreme degree to replicate the case they came in. You know, if you'd visited my cave a few years ago, there would have been Billy bookcases all around here, and I would have been running around grabbing sci-fi movie sidearms to show you all the best sidearms. I have since moved them all into a single steamer trunk that I built. All of this is on the channel, but vessels for the things that I care about have always mattered to me. I specifically remember being 19 years old in New York and coming upon what I would later understand as a leather sample case for a salesman, this big boxy square leather container. And that was my first toolbox for all my tools. And I annoyed many people by walking them through all the details of my box and all the things that it held, and it had everything that I needed. I love the idea of a set that allows you to bivouac outside your shop, but still get everything done. So in the late 90s, a friend of mine had a doctor's bag that his grandfather used, and he gave it to me. And just standard leather doctor's bag with a curved top. And I took that and I started to turn it into a real model making toolkit. At this point, I'd been working in commercial special effects for half a decade. I had some real chops. I had a good collection of tools, and I started to populate this doctor's bag. Later on, I found a second one, exactly the same make and model on eBay, and I love nothing more than two of the same thing. So I got that, and I started kitting them out as my toolboxes. And I'm going to show you that state that they were in, and we'll include links to this. And so there's one and there's the other. And these did really, really well for me. I had them for about 2.5 years when I got hired at Industrial Light and Magic to work on the last 6 months of production of episode 1 and The Phantom Menace. And I showed up with these doctor bags. And they made a splash. They were weird and fun, and like, you know, my colleagues would come over and like talk about we're all gearheads in that shop. So I found myself in good company. And then my boss on one of the jobs I was doing, my boss was Michael Lynch. And Michael said, you know, I noticed that you're using those toolboxes and you're bending over to get the stuff out of those toolboxes while you're at your desk. You know what would be great? What would be great is if you could put them on scissor lifts and then they'd be at waist height. And I was like, that's an amazing idea. And I went home, he told me that like on a Friday, and I went home and I built a pair of scissor lifts for those doctor bags all weekend long. I wanted to impress him. I wanted to create a story. I wanted, I wanted to make my mark in this place. And for years, Michael Lynch would tell that story that I came in the next morning. So it was good that I did it over the weekend. This is the, let's see here. No. There's the first scissor lift. I actually built these twice that weekend because I made them out of crappy hardware store aluminum that couldn't handle the weight. And the first time I put the toolbox on, the whole thing just crushed. I still have those original scissor lifts. Oh, they're so optimistic. Then I built this pair. Again, both in one weekend. And then I showed up with them. And that, again, got me more attention and was just the right thing to sort of introduce myself to my colleagues. There are the scissor lift doctor's bags. And then, honestly, these leather doctor's bags, they were already several decades old. They were not meant for that. And eventually they failed. And that's when I rebuilt them out of aluminum. And I also did these in a weekend. And I will tell you, I spent all weekend long bending, cutting, shaping, riveting these two toolboxes. I had a hand riveter at that time. And I've talked about this. When I came in Monday morning with my toolboxes, I was really excited. But when I got to my desk and I started to write out what I was going, my pencil fell out of my hand. And I was like, wait a minute, why? And like, I had trouble holding a pencil because I had so used these muscles for riveting that my hands didn't work that well. These toolboxes worked amazingly well. They still exist. They are no longer filled with tools. They ended up having several hundred tools in them. And I really did, at this point, I was like refining them. There I am, 30 pounds heavier than I am today, sitting on those toolboxes. That's probably what year is that? That's, oh no. I don't know when that was taken because I scanned a photograph back in 2011. The toolboxes are my favorite kind of object. They tell the story about why they are on themselves. They're absurd. They catch your eye. They tell a story. And that was a good story, right? Like, it showed a commitment. It's like, Jamie Heineman was very clear when he started freelancing in special effects that the big mustache and the beret made him memorable. And it's not bad to be memorable if you back it up with excellent work ethic. And that's what I was doing with the toolboxes at ILM. And later on, I ended up drawing them. And here's a picture of that drawing. And I did that drawing. I actually projected it. I took one of the shots of the two toolboxes and I projected it down on a board. And I spent, God, it had to have been about 8 or 10 hours tracing everything and then making a list. The list was non-trivial. All right, let's see what's been going on here. By the way, in 16 minutes, timer's gonna go off on my phone. I'm gonna pull some things that are baking in my lab oven out. I'm doing final paint on a build that I'm really excited about. You're gonna love it. Let's see here. Oh, interesting. Gwen, Maker of Things. I just didn't even see this one. Gwen, Maker of Things also wants to know if I rebuilt my scissor-lift toolboxes today, what differences would I make? So that's really cool. That is really cool because for the model making, the differences would be relatively minor. You say using a pneumatic riveter. Sure, 100%. But the pneumatic riveter would be more like something I'd make sure the shop had. I still want to show up with my ability to put rivets in if I need to. It probably changed what some of the electric tools are. Dremel, right? I had a cordless Dremel in there, and Dremel's released like, how many cordless Dremels have there been over the years? Like 5 different battery systems, charging types, form factors. None of them fit with each other. None of them last. Sorry, Dremel. I don't mean to pay you out. I'm just saying in the cordless execution of Dremel. Listen, I've had Dremels for almost 45 years, but in the cordless execution of Dremels, it's been all over the map. Just a second. I'm just going to pull this out of the oven. Thank you for your patience. I'm not going to show you what I pulled out of the oven. It'll reveal too much. I'm so sorry for that tease. This is also, okay, for those who like clues, this, which was in the photo Norm took for the thumbnail for this, this is the handle for said object that I'm painting. And to be fair, if you showed me this handle, I would know what it's from. But, this was a scratch build last week, and I'm really happy with it. I even got to do some like knife making kind of epoxy pinning to get these handles working. Yeah, I really like that one. Okay, let's see what's been happening here.